Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest edition of the No Holden Back podcast. My name is Luke Holden. Currently sitting here with my dad, Ben Holden. It's rainy today, as like it was the last time we did this, I believe.
Yeah, what's the deal with that, man?
Yeah, it seems to be raining a lot here. Certainly more rain than snow that we got in the winter. Pretty dry winter, I would say.
Good for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
It's going to be nice soon.
Yeah, it will.
Again.
All right, it's only May, so.
We had a good Saturday. It was nice. Finally got out and played golf.
Yep.
And probably going to put this thing in mothballs for a couple days later in the week because I need to get out and golf.
Yeah. Hey. Well, the courses are open now, so might as well take advantage of it, I guess. But.
We're doing this today and a couple tomorrow with Freddie, and then, one Wednesday with Freddie too. So Beyond that, we're just we've gotten caught up. The Wi-Fi is up to speed. We got some new episodes on Anchor and Spotify and Google on the podcast side.
Yep.
And, of course, always on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and all that. So what are we doing today, young man?
Yeah, well, first things first, I think I might as well touch on a couple current topics, I suppose. Okay. First thing I want to talk about is Monster Energy Supercross is set to make their return on May 31st.
Good to hear.
They'll be finishing all 7 rounds in Salt Lake City at Utah. Rice Cycles Stadium. Yeah. I'm pretty curious to see what they're going to do with the layouts for those 7 rounds. I'm hoping they do some pretty interesting and unique things with that. Because if anyone knows who watches Supercross, you know that they don't race in one location specifically. So really hoping that we see some cool layouts. And I'm hoping for an Eli Tomac championship this year. So.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. And did I ever take you on a track when I was covering Nick Way or not? Did I get you out? You were like 3 years old when you were on his bike.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever
sitting on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever got out.
I don't think I did. But I'll say this in regard to that: like walking those tracks, you better be in shape.
Oh yeah.
We walked. Yeah. I did a piece once with Nick Way, former ride. He's not racing anymore, is he?
No, he's currently coaching Adam Cincerillo, who rides for Monster Energy Kawasaki.
So Nick's got to be now. He's got to be in his mid-30s, right? Mm-hmm. I first met him in, I want to say, 98, 99.
Yeah.
In Lansing. I think it was my second year. So he was 17 then. So, yeah, he's 35, 36, right?
Yeah.
So I did a lot with Nick, and that's how I think a lot of your love for the sport of motocross and motorcycle racing has kind of evolved.
Yeah.
It kind of went away for a few years. And you're like, Dad, I bought all these video games. I'm racing again. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I did a ton of stuff with him, and one of the coolest things I did with him was walk the track at the Silverdome.
Yeah.
And for Nick, he's from DeWitt. It's about 20 miles north of Lansing.
Yep.
For those that don't know, the capital of Michigan. And it was always a huge thrill for him, obviously coming back home to race. And I remember walking that track with him.
Yeah.
Man, those things are like that.
Yeah.
Some of those jumps. It's intense. But to your point. They're not going to do the same track. So what's the breakdown then? Give us the breakdown. Is it Saturday and what you said midweek, right?
I believe it's going to be Sundays and Wednesdays,
okay.
I think, are the race days.
All right.
Obviously, like I said, it starts May 31st.
Right.
They'll finish the 7 rounds. It kind of works out because they were going to finish this year, at least. They were going to finish the series in Salt Lake, which it's not the same as finishing in Las Vegas every year.
Right.
So I hope that next year they do go back to finishing the series in Vegas because that's where it should end, in my opinion, not to be the second to last round and then end in Utah. I don't have anything against Salt Lake, of course, but I think it was a little odd to finish in Utah this year if the season would have gone the way it normally would have. But regardless, I'm happy to see them coming back and finishing it. I don't know what's going to happen with the outdoors. The MXGPs have again been pushed back. The European Championship or the World Championship, I should say. MotoGP, their 2020 season still unknown as to what they're going to do. Kind of like a lot of the leagues and championships throughout the country and the world at the moment.
Yep.
Bundesliga, the German soccer league, has returned. They officially started play on Friday, I believe, this week.
How much have you watched?
I haven't watched much of it, but it definitely is pretty weird to see no fans. And you definitely, if you're not paying that much attention, you're not going to know when somebody scored a goal. I can tell you that. I can tell you that much.
And you're going to hear everything too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
or a lot of it, anyways.
But. But good to see Bundesliga back. It's a great league, and I'm very happy to see them back. But I know for you, there was some golf on yesterday.
Yeah, there was. It was the There were 4 of them playing, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, and Ricky Fowler, the big names. I'm not going to lie. I never heard of the 4th guy that was playing.
Yeah.
I was doing some work right here in our little studio, our little makeshift studio here, and which is in my living room.
Yep.
So my TV, it's about, 6 feet away. It's social distance, right? I'm not going to get sick from the TV, am I?
I would hope not. But.
Depending on what I watch.
Yeah, right.
But I monitor that on a regular basis. But nevertheless, all kidding aside, it was good to see some guys playing golf. Certainly different, and everything's going to be different. Moving forward. Definitely. They had one guy from the PGA that was basically like playing the role of a caddy, so to speak.
Yep.
Where he would go up. He was the only person to touch the pin. And then they were carrying their bags.
Yeah.
Which, no one's used to seeing professional golfers carry their bag.
Right. It's interesting.
And they were in shorts.
Okay.
Which you can't do on the PGA Tour. You have to wear pants.
Yep.
And I'd be curious to know this, Luke. How many players would wear shorts
if
they were given the option on the PGA Tour? I mean, the LPGA is completely different. I mean, they're in shorts.
Yep.
Some of the women wear skirts, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious. Would you, if you were a pro golfer, would you wear pants or shorts given the option?
It probably depend on where I was at, to be honest.
Yeah,
if I was in if I was in Augusta in Florida and it was a hot day, I would probably want to wear shorts.
Yeah.
But if I was, at the British Open and it's windy and
right.
rainy, I'm wearing pants
Bundled
I'm wearing pants and probably a good, pullover fleece, something like this. So
you're probably in layers like we've gotten used to living in the state and the climate we live in.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm right there with you. I'd wear shorts. I've worn pants at outings, when you go to golf outings and, things like that, but, it was cool. I mean, again, it was different. Everything's going to be different for a while here. I don't think it's going to change for the rest of our lives. I mean, I hope not personally.
Yep.
But it's going to be different for a while. Everyone, I think, that's realistic about this stuff knows that.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see guys carrying their bag.
Yep.
And just they all had mics on and, a little chatter going on out there. Yeah. So I think that could be one thing moving forward with sports that, with these stadiums empty, you're going to hear everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, like, in hockey, that was one of the first sports I thought of, where you guys are chirping the whole game. I mean, football's the same. Guys are chirping, going back and forth.
Yep.
Basketball's the same. Baseball's a little different. It depends on where your microphones are and how good your audio guy is. But there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yep.
My affection for those audio guys.
Yes,
they work their magic. So, yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed watching a little bit. Wasn't, completely invested in it, but I had it on, and it was just nice to see some guys out there playing golf on TV again.
Yeah, definitely great to see it.
Yeah.
Of course, coming up soon, we have the Premier Lacrosse League and their championship series starting in mid-July, late July. Pretty excited for that.
Yep.
You will definitely be hearing some mic'd up segments.
Oh yeah,
in that.
Well, they did it anyway last year, and I thought it was awesome. Now
they were one of the first leagues to start it and continue it throughout the year too.
Right. So the I want to say it was 58 days. The Alliance of American Football that I was proud to be on for the few weeks that we did it.
Yeah.
They experimented with it a lot.
Yes.
I know the XFL did a little bit this year, but I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't watch 1 second of the XFL.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
But in the Alliance on those games that we had on CBS Sports Network and a few that were on CBS.
Yep.
The problem was the first week it was F-bomb after F-bomb.
Yeah.
So guys weren't really cognizant of what they were saying and, forgetting they had microphones on.
Right.
But there was some really good stuff that came out of that. And, the XFL, again, them doing it, but in the league, the Alliance, I thought it was a cool thing.
Yep.
And, I think that's something that, I'm not an executive, obviously, but that's probably something that executives are looking at, because when sports come back, whenever football, if the NFL comes back like they're planning September, still don't know about college football. That's a giant ball of yarn right now, in my opinion. I don't know if we're going to even have college football. I hope we do.
Yeah.
But if you're in empty stadiums, you're going to hear everything.
I know. Exactly.
And I'm a guy, as a play-by-play guy, I've done for 15, 16 years now. What's the first thing I ask when I get in the booth usually? On talkback.
You usually ask for a fax in your headset.
Give me a fax. Anyone that's worked with me, they know that. I love to hear what's going on. I love to hear the crowd, because here's how I view it.
Yeah.
I view it this way. Doing what I've done for a lot of years, I want to take the fan as close as we can get them.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, yes, I'm an energetic guy. That's always been my nature. Over the years, I've had a lot of good people help me to polish that.
Yeah.
Picking spots better and things like that. Not, as I like to say, not coming out of my shoes every time I call a play.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I ask. And because I want to be able to be as close as I can for the people that are watching the game. So I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know when it'll happen again, but I wish it was happening tomorrow, man. But
yeah, I know.
It's all good. It's where we're at right now, and today's all we got, man. So
yeah, definitely. Well, it'll certainly be interesting to see where things go from here, and how everything kind of, how people make decisions and decide things on what to do with sports and really everything else across the world. But to kind of transition a little bit and go into our next topic here.
Segue.
The finale of The Last Dance was last night, episodes 9 and 10.
I did my homework, Luke.
Yes. Yep, I see that.
It's kind of blurry, but
a little bit.
Get my notepad.
But yeah, just, I guess the first thing to start with is what was your thoughts on the end of it, and what did you think overall of the series?
Here's my thought. I sat there.
Yep.
In the 10th episode, I was like, please don't end. Please don't end. Like, honestly, I wanted to keep watching it.
Yep.
I mean, we're both on social media, different platforms. You're an Instagram guy for the most part, right?
Right. Yep.
Twitter, Facebook, those are my main platforms. I saw a few people saying, oh, I didn't care. I didn't watch it. You know what? Whether you're a football person, a hockey person, a baseball person, whatever your favorite sport is, I say you watch it.
100%.
Point is, I saw a lot of people saying, oh, I'm glad it's over with, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I'm not.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it was great for all of us to watch. There's always going to be people that, are negative about, oh, well, they made it all about Jordan, this and that. But I didn't want it to end, man. I mean, I could watch 10 more episodes of that thing, Luke.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you feel?
I was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. The whole series itself, I think, was very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of really, really interesting things that I think even people that, were alive during that time didn't know about.
Right.
So to hear about that and to kind of experience it with people that even were able to watch Jordan when he was playing, I think is pretty interesting for sure. But I really enjoyed it. I agree. I would love, to watch even more.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I'm hoping for that Kobe documentary to come out.
Yeah. That was one of the first texts you sent me after it last night.
Well, I think, just in my opinion, maybe for my generation and really for everybody else with the passing of Kobe Bryant, I think that's something we need.
Yeah.
I think people really need to be reminded of Kobe's greatness as well. But besides the point, I really enjoyed it. It definitely, a lot of things really kind of, got to me being an athlete and things like that. And, things that I understood maybe better that some people wouldn't, and I really, just as a whole, I really appreciated watching it. And I'm really glad that we've been in quarantine, but we've had, Sunday nights to watch something that's been, in my opinion, truly spectacular and honestly just beautiful overall. It's from a production side of things, it was great. The interviews were great. Watching the old footage was awesome.
He's a big fan of Dennis Rodman after this now, which
yes.
I think is cool, man, because he's a throwback. And, for a 19-year-old to watch this, I was really – I remember the first night. I want to say it was the first night. Didn't I text you like in maybe 45 minutes in or somewhere? It was like the first hour, and I go, are you watching this?
Yeah.
And it made me proud when he texted me back. He's like, yeah, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And it's good that you see that. And to your point about Kobe Bryant, I mean, look at the footage that they had for this thing.
Yeah.
And it was Adam Silver back in the day that gave the approval and was, I believe he was in charge of all their marketing and things like that behind the scenes.
Yes.
Obviously now he's the commissioner of the league.
Right.
And has been for a few years since he took over for David Stern.
Yep.
But think of the footage that they'll have from Kobe Bryant.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's got to be mind-boggling. They're spending hours going through this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
In this day and age, because I mean, now he didn't completely play in the social media era, but he played a lot of his career in the social media era.
He did.
where there's cameras and phones and all kinds of stuff, iPads, you know, all these things, you know? So there's got to be a ton of footage that they have.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't think it'd be hard to do that one, to your point.
Yeah, I think, you know, and I think it's something that, I mean, I would certainly enjoy it. I love Kobe.
Yeah, I would too.
He's he's one of the greatest players of all time. You know, as we talked about last week, I don't think he's really where he belongs on that top 10 ESPN.com list, but that's just my opinion.
He's not the 9th best player
of
all time. No way.
Definitely.
No way.
You know, and it was pretty cool. I believe it was either the 97 or the 98 championship when they won and Jordan stood on the score table. You know, my first thought being, you know, a kid that's grown up in the Kobe era.
That was in 97, I believe.
97,
yeah. Because they were in Chicago.
In 2010, when Kobe, you know, in Game 7, when he beat the Celtics in 2010, he did the exact same thing. He went up and stood on the score table and put his arms out, and you know,
arms raised in a V.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool to see. Like, he really did take everything from Mike. You know, I mean, that's who he grew up watching. You know, he grew up watching Michael Jordan. And for LeBron, he grew up watching Kobe Bryant.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of cool to see how that line has kind of fallen. You know, it was Michael's league, and then it became Kobe's league, and then
before that, it was Magic and Larry's league.
Right, and then now it's LeBron's league, sort of, if you will. You know, I mean, maybe not so much now, but they still do focus a lot on LeBron James. As you know, he's very easily marketable, and he's a great guy. He's
the face of the NBA.
Yes.
He has been for years.
Yes.
You know, even though he's always been compared to Jordan.
Right.
I was listening to one of the talk shows this morning, and somebody made the point, well, LeBron's lost in the finals 6 times.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, to me, that erases any conversation.
Well, and
I never felt that he was even close to Michael Jordan. I mean, I don't mean it like that. He's just not. He's not.
Right.
You know, he's not the player. He's a completely different player. The way he plays the game, the things that he's done, he's needed. He did it his way, and I respect that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not even a really close conversation.
Right.
I think a lot of people
that
didn't see Jordan play live, like yourself, maybe have a new appreciation for that or new thought on it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think I mentioned it on one of our earlier shows, but I never really looked at LeBron as the greatest player of all time. I was always told it was Jordan. That's what I believed.
Yeah. Who told you that?
Probably you. And, you know, I mean, I think, you know, I think there were a lot of people that, you know, still believe that Jordan is the greatest player. And I thought it was interesting. ESPN, after last night, after the shows were over, they did their fan poll.
Yeah.
73% upvoted Michael Jordan, 37% voted for LeBron between the greatest of all time.
Right.
And I think that's right about where it should be, honestly.
I do too.
You know, and to your point, LeBron he's a completely different player.
Yeah.
And for me, and I know that, I mean, everyone's always going to have debates on who's the greatest.
Absolutely.
What era?
It's the beauty of sports.
What era was the best? All those kinds of things.
One of the beauties.
To me, we need to just, after this, I think we need to just.
It's done.
It needs to be, yes.
It's done.
You know, I think it needs to just be left. You know, everything needs to just be said and done. Jordan, as of now, is still the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Unless if LeBron in the next 3-4 years goes out and
wins a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with how good the league is and how much better teams are getting, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
And he's not getting any younger.
Exactly.
I mean, it happens to all of us. We all get older. So,
right.
You know, and that was something. There's a couple things, and I didn't really directly answer you. I just kind of said, when you asked me about what stood out or however you worded that.
Yeah.
You know, number one, I was like, no, don't be over.
Yeah.
I want to keep watching this.
Yes.
One of the other things was about hearing Jordan finally talk about, did they want to go for a 7th?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But that Utah team, man, they pushed them like nobody pushed them in the finals. The 2 years they beat them.
Definitely.
And that team was getting up there in age.
Yep.
They were all getting older. You know, and it was interesting to hear Jerry Reinsdorf. He talked about, you know, market value-wise, it wasn't going to make sense for us. They would have to pay all those guys huge contracts.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, too. Jordan said he only had 1-year deals.
Yeah.
He's like, I would have done it for another year.
Yeah.
But I understand both sides of it. the business side the best I can.
Right.
The underside, the business side of it from, well, I kind of do, but then I don't because they're making all kinds of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that logo behind me on that hat, I mean, that was it at that time.
Yeah.
But I get what they did. I understand it. I don't know if they would have got a 7th, though. I don't know if that would have happened, Luke.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously hard to say. We don't know what didn't happen. Right. I think they probably could have done it. It would have been tough. It would have been grueling. I think maybe then you would have seen the integration of what we like to call load management.
What's that?
Yeah, well, you can ask Kawhi. You can ask Kawhi that question.
Ask all those guys that. Ask Rodman. Ask Pippen.
Yeah.
Ask Jordan. You know what else I thought was good too was, and I remembered it. I didn't completely remember it as it happened.
Yep.
Was with Pippen with a back. And how bad he was hurting. I mean, I've been dealing with back issues for a year and a half, and a ton of people deal with it.
Yep.
I'm not an NBA player, obviously, but that was kind of cool. I mean, I thought in some way that kind of redeemed him a little bit.
It did, yeah.
For earlier in his career, not going in the game because the play was drawn up for Tony Kukoc. And I thought that showed me all I needed to know about Scottie Pippen. And, I never looked at him as like, I quit. I mean, maybe at the time I did.
Yeah.
I was young in this stuff. I just started my career that time. And,
right.
But that to me was something I thought was pretty cool to see him get some redemption that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I have a huge appreciation for Scottie Pippen as well. I think, I mean, Jordan said it earlier in the documentary. You can't mention me without mentioning Scottie Pippen.
Nope. Batman and Robin.
Yeah, those two absolutely belong together.
Yep.
And it is pretty impressive that even with that back pain that Scottie came out and did the things that he did, played as well as he could have, and still helped the team, to win that game and bring home a championship to Chicago to get the second three-peat. So,
yeah, I mean, they were talking. They showed it. 5 minutes in the 5-10 minutes in the training room, treatment, massage, whatever they're doing, injecting him with painkiller, whatever they did.
Yeah.
And then he'd come back out,
mm-hmm.
And there's a quote in there. I wrote it down. And he's like, I was absolutely a decoy. I was a decoy, the entire game.
Oh yeah.
Because he went up for that dunk.
Yeah.
And you could see him come down, and he was in pain.
Yeah.
And anyone that's dealing or dealt with back pain, how painful that is. Imagine that, when
right.
you're jumping up and down and coming down with that pressure and that weight and that force. I mean, I had a lot more, even more respect than I already did for him.
Yeah.
Seeing that in, last night's, that was in episode 10.
Yes. So, that was certainly awesome to see it. I think, with Scottie too, he didn't like Jerry Krause. I think everyone knew that.
Yep.
We got to understand that better.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool that, present day Scottie was like, I appreciate what Jerry did for us.
Right.
As much as he didn't like the guy, as much as he, didn't appreciate some of the things he was doing, how he felt undervalued with his contract and all those kinds of things. I thought it was really cool to see him now in present day saying, I appreciate what Jerry Krause did for our team.
Yeah. How can you not?
Yeah. I mean, it's, some people might not agree and say that he arguably is one of the greatest general managers of all time.
You got to put him up there. I mean, they won 6.
Do. Yeah. I mean, they,
you have to.
3-peat. I mean, they drafted Michael, drafted Scottie,
Kukoc,
even though
Horace Grant,
even though Krause didn't want Dennis Rodman, they still got him.
Well, they got him because Michael wanted him,
right? But
and Phil.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was cool to see that.
Yep.
I think one thing that definitely stood out to me was, do we call it the flu game anymore?
It's a Pizzagate.
The Pizzagate, yeah, I guess so. So maybe those Jordan 12 retros are going to have to be renamed instead of the flu games, the black and red ones. But
the slice of pizza on the bottom of each sole,
I know.
what, man?
But yeah, I mean that was interesting. I mean, I always thought it was he got the flu and that was that. I didn't think it was food poisoning. I don't think anybody did.
No, I didn't know that. The only thing that to me was a little I questioned was 5 guys. Or 5 pizza?
Yeah.
But it's not the hamburger joint. 5 guys, right?
Right.
I mean,
maybe it was. Maybe it was 5 Guys Pizza at the time. You don't know.
Maybe it was. They never disclosed that. I know DiGiorno had a ton of fun with that on social media.
Yeah.
Delivery but I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that a little bit.
Yeah.
Not the whole story, just that 5 guys were there, but whatever. I mean, I think there were things that came out in that a lot of people wanted answers to. And and I felt personally that Jordan did that. I felt he was honest. I mean, obviously you can say what you want. It's your documentary basically. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was interesting as well. And, got sick, came back, played, and dropped like 38, I think, in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm just wondering what the hell they did to the pizza.
No idea.
I mean, maybe they used some old tomatoes or some rotten pepperoni or something like that.
Bad mushrooms. I don't know.
It's pretty, and then the other thing that stood out to me is he ate the whole pizza. I mean, I don't know what size pizza he ordered, but he got it. He's like, I ate the whole thing, man. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was, I mean, just again, to show, professional athletes, they need fuel and they need food.
Carbs, baby.
Sometimes you got to eat a whole pizza to get filled up.
Seen this kid do it.
Yes.
And a giant hamburger and like a huge basket of, remember in
Denver,
in Colorado, we were out there for Army Air Force, 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the pizza or the burger was about that big or so.
On my birthday, he ate all that.
Yeah, and I think it was like a medium pizza or something like that.
Oh, it was big. It was
6 or
7 meat lovers.
6 or 8 slices.
In honor of Chris Farley.
Yeah, right.
How about the push, man? Push, no push.
No push.
No push.
I've seen it before. I've seen that shot before. I mean, if you know anything about basketball, or even, I mean, I can compare it to lacrosse a little bit, being a defensive player.
Okay.
Because the way, obviously, with basketball you're dribbling the ball on the ground, where lacrosse you have a ball in your stick, but it's the same mechanics you do. I've taken when you're dodging someone in lacrosse, it's similar footwork to how you would, set up a dribble combination in basketball, or even a juke in football, a 2-step and, go one way or the other way. If you are on your toes and you're being if you're full speed going one way, you're not stopping if you're playing on your toes. Like, can't think of
Brian Russell.
Yeah.
I got that right here.
Yep.
I wrote that down. The 97 finals, Jordan hit the game winner, 84-82.
Yeah.
And he said one thing he noticed watching him was he was always on his toes.
Yeah.
He not always, but he defended a lot on his toes.
Right.
And that was the key to beating him, because then you get him off balance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously being a defensive player, you don't want to play on your heels either, because you're going to be flat-footed. You're going to be slow. You can't react as quick.
Yep.
You kind of have to find that right balance, kind of be on the balls of your feet a little bit, not so much on your toes. But yeah, it's not a push off. Jordan put his hand on Russell because he was crossing it back through his legs to get the shot. And he was just he was separating himself.
That's his momentum was taking him that way
too. Yeah,
too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you're leading a guy one way and you're making a crossover that quickly and you're pulling it back that quickly,
right?
You're good. You're just going to go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I saw the clip, I was like, he touched the earth on that one. I mean, he put him on the floor.
Yeah.
But it was not a push off. He put his hand there just for a little bit of stability and just to make that separation. Everyone talks about basketball getting separation for a shot. That's exactly what Jordan did there.
Yeah.
He stepped back, pulled it back through his legs, pulled up for the shot, and he made it. So to me, it's not a push off. I'm sure a lot of people are still going to say it was a push off.
Sure,
and it should have been a foul.
Yeah.
But the other thing you got to keep in mind, in today's modern NBA, that probably would have been called as a push off.
Probably would have. Now you're right.
But back then, those guys could do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll look at Reggie Miller. I mean, he got right into Jordan's chest.
Oh yeah.
Pushed him about 5 feet off.
That part was good too.
Yeah, I
thought that was great.
He pushed him 5 feet off. No foul, gets the shot off, wins the game.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, it's they didn't win the game. Well, was that the game where Jordan went up for the 3 and missed that shot? He airballed it.
Let's see. Game 4, 2.9 left. Reggie hits the 3. Indiana won by 2 points. Jordan, there was 0.7 of a second left.
Yeah, because
Larry Bird's like, if game's not over yet, like they showed that shot.
Yep.
And I mean, Larry played against him obviously a ton. He dropped 63 on him one year. He was young in his career.
Yeah.
And that was interesting too when he went back and after they beat him, and I can't say what
Jordan
he said, but a couple of pretty strong expletives.
Well, he did say, now you got time to work on your golf game.
Right, so. He did. That's how he did end it. I was going to go there, being the golf guy I am, but that was interesting too. Yeah, and he knew he could never count him out.
Definitely.
And I love that part with Reggie Miller. I mean, he called him Black Jesus.
Yep. I mean, he said it, the only way I referred to him for the rest of my career was Jordan, Black Jesus, or the Black Cat.
That's right.
That's
it. Yep. And then there was a clip at one point in there where he used I heard him say the Black Cat. They had a side angle of him at the podium.
Post-game interview,
Yep. And, that was good. Let's see. What else? Let's flip through. I did my homework, man, like I said. So Jerry Sloan, I didn't know he was sick.
Yep.
Was I the last to know? Yes, you were. You know what? Another part, Luke, that I thought it's on my notes right here, and it's front and center with me.
Yep.
And you being the Warriors fan that you are, I always liked Steve Kerr. I just thought, like, I felt like what I knew about him was what I watched on TV when he was an analyst. I thought he was a really good analyst too.
Yeah.
And that part, I think he came out of this. My feeling, he came out of this as a star.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the guy's won 8 rings. He won 3 in Chicago, 2 in San Antonio, 3 with the Warriors, coaching them.
Yes.
8 titles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. And the story, like, you go back, what was it, 2 episodes ago? 6, 7, when he got punched in the eye.
Yep.
After he popped Jordan, he challenged Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That was where I gained even more respect for Steve Kerr, because he stood up to the best player in the game at the time, and now the greatest that's ever played it, for my money anyway. And I think most people's money that are worth their salt that know basketball.
Yes.
And that was fascinating. But watching that, I knew his dad had died when he wasn't anywhere near living the end of his life.
Yeah.
He was in his 50s.
Yep.
When his father was a president of a university in Beirut and was murdered by 2, I believe they were co-eds, right?
They were disguised as students they were going disguised as students.
That's right.
Yep.
And that part, I mean, you think of you had the episode of practice.
Yep.
But then to think that both his father and Jordan's father were both murdered.
Yep.
2 men, they were both shot and killed.
Yeah.
And sadly, and I mean, the bond those guys had, and that was great in the 98 part about 98.
Yeah.
When Jordan, he took a line from that Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if he took it from there, but it reminded me of that. He earned his wings tonight.
Yeah,
he hit that shot.
Yep.
And that part to me was incredible. I thought Steve Kerr was great in the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I have a very big amount of respect for Steve Kerr as a coach.
Yep.
I've gotten to see him as a player now. And I know the things that he did. And I think, the relationship that he had with John Paxson was a really cool thing to me too.
Yep.
Because Steve Kerr was the next John Paxson for Jordan.
Yeah, he was. Yep. You're right.
And he really, he shined in those moments when Jordan needed another guy to make a shot.
Yep.
Just like John Paxson. So, I thought that was really cool. Obviously, hearing about what had happened to his father, and obviously we know what happened to Jordan's father.
Yeah.
It was tough to hear. It was emotional, and I think it was interesting how he said, "Yeah, me and Mike really never talked about it because it probably would have been too hard for us."
Mm-hmm.
But the relationship they had, I always knew that they had a good connection because I had seen highlights and all that kind of stuff. Those guys, Steve Kerr wide open for 3, Jordan making some crazy pass down low in the post or something to Kerr to hit, game-winning shot or just making a shot, anytime, point in the game. But, I definitely, it was definitely, I have even like you said, I have a much bigger respect for Steve Kerr, especially as a player. And again, anyone that thinks Steve Kerr cannot coach, 2 things. He played for Phil Jackson. Well, 3 things, I should say. He played for Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich.
Yep.
2 of the greatest coaches of all time.
100% agree.
He's won 8 championships, as you said.
Yep.
And the other thing, please, if you haven't seen the Christmas Day game with Houston and Golden State from last year, or from this season, I should say, go and watch that game. He knows how to coach.
100%.
But besides the point, it was Steve Kerr's, I have a lot of respect for him. He's definitely a great role model, I think, for a lot of people. So
yeah, excuse me, I'm with you on that. I thought too that was funny in the segment. It was near the end of the 10th episode.
Yeah, when
they were at the parade and the rally, and I wrote the quote down. I had to bail out Michael again.
Yeah,
and just I was really, really, really impressed with that part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
When Kerr came into it, I don't remember exactly what part he came in, but I don't think he was in it from the start, was he?
I believe he was in there. I think he might have gotten in around episode 2 or 3.
All right.
So but he was in there early.
But certainly the last 4, he had more of a prominent.
Yeah,
they featured a lot more in there, and they used a lot more of his clips.
He was more involved in those championships,
right?
So I think that's part of it.
Right, and that part was awesome. I really liked it. We haven't really got into Rodman yet, have we?
No, and that's where I was thinking of going.
All right, well, go for it. It's your deal, man. You're in the host seat.
So, obviously, as I've talked, I have a huge appreciation for Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
I think he's awesome. Obviously, I love the hair. I think that that green.
Do I need to buy some hair dye for you, or what?
Maybe.
I need to get some for myself.
I mean, the green like camouflage looking hair that he had in the '98 finals.
They're pouring the champagne.
Awesome.
He's like, "Is this waterproof?"
Yeah, exactly.
That was great.
But yeah, I have a huge appreciation for Dennis Rodman.
Me too. Always have.
I think that the lifestyle that he led to is a pretty badass lifestyle, I would say. I mean,
you can get it, yeah.
I mean, he got to date Carmen Electra of all people.
Dated Madonna at one point.
Dated Madonna.
Countless other women.
He got interviewed a lot.
He did.
Obviously, we know what he did in Vegas. That was certainly a pretty crazy time for him. But yeah, Rodzilla. I had no idea that he had a WWE career per se.
I remembered that, and it was cool to see that in there.
Yeah,
it was cool. I knew right where they were going. How about the media guy? I got to find a way to get him out of here past 300. I mean, camera guys, full sprint running.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, you talk about circus.
Yeah.
I mean, that part to me was, and I know my fair share of media people over the years, and there's a couple that I think could pull that off.
Right.
It takes a rare breed to do that. They got him out of there. They saw him, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he goes.
Yeah, I mean, you saw as soon as he got out of the door of the locker room, they were coming.
Yep.
They were like, there he is. We're going to get him. Yeah.
That part was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I thought, they had the truck pulled up as soon as he got outside. He ran right in.
See ya.
Yep, he was gone. But yeah, I mean, Rodman's just, I mean, he's a really enjoyable dude to listen to, watch.
He is.
When they got to, the 98 championship, when he was talking about, I can't say some of the things that he said.
Right.
But, he's like, not giving this to Steve Kerr, not giving this to Scottie Pippen, not giving it to me. He's like, I just walked back. I know I didn't need to do anything at that point. Just get down there, sit there, do nothing.
Yeah.
Because he's taking that shot no matter what. It's his shot. He's not giving it to anybody.
No way.
And I thought that was pretty entertaining to hear his take on that. And you did, you see the footage. He was walking back. He's like, I don't need to be here for this.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get in there. He's going to make that shot.
Yeah. He was smart as a businessman too. Think about this. So he was fined $20,000 by the Bulls.
Yep.
He made reports are he made $250,000 by going and doing the wrestling thing. They gave him a private jet.
Yep.
So the flight's like 20 minutes, 25 maybe tops.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you they flew him into Oakland Airport.
Yep.
It's probably 45 minutes north of us.
Yeah.
And that's it's 15, 20 minutes from the Palace, if that.
Exactly.
So that's an easy flight. I mean, he comes back. He has 20-some rebounds in the game.
Yeah.
Which that's what I appreciated about him, and the whole connection that he had with Jordan and the team. Michael Jordan knew they needed a guy like him to win. When they lost Horace Grant and they got exposed in that series when he came back 94, 95, when he came back, I want to say it was in March.
Yep.
It was in March, but I think it was like mid-March when he came back. They needed him.
Yeah.
They knew they had to he knew they had to have him.
Exactly.
And I think you might have said to me earlier when we were talking, like, or maybe even now, Jerry Krause may not have wanted him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, let's be honest. Now we know, everyone clearly knows, if you didn't already know, that Jordan pretty much got what he wanted.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
So, and understandably so.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dennis Rodman, obviously had a great career, one of the best rebounders. One of the best on-ball defenders I think to ever play.
Yep. Right there with you, Luke.
And one thing that, was interesting, I've been watching since episodes 3 and 4 with my mom.
Okay.
and she had said to me after, Rodman did the whole WWE thing, she's like, well, why didn't Jordan get more mad at him? And I said, well, it's because Mike knew that's what he needed to do. He needed to,
he needed to let him be Dennis.
Get out and, do some crazy stuff. And, he took the vacation in the middle of the season.
Going to Vegas. Who does that?
Dennis Rodman.
Right. That's about, but I can't even think.
Like of any current players that would do something like that?
Yeah, and I didn't grow up in the era of Joe Namath. I was born in 70, but
yeah,
from what I've seen and read, and I've talked to a few people that that are in the know.
Yeah.
Obviously he was a superstar, and
yeah,
but he wasn't doing stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not picking on him. That's the way he was.
Yeah.
And to some degree, I can't really think of anyone else that even remotely. In any sport, I'm sitting here thinking baseball, football, hockey.
I can't think of anybody really.
I mean, he's a one of a kind, man.
Yeah,
and, I have the ultimate respect for him. I was sad when he signed with the Bulls, being a Michigan guy and a, Detroit fan, with the exception of the Lions.
Right.
Because I won't let them rip my heart out anymore. They've done it enough over the years. But,
right.
Because seeing him, you're like, come on, don't go to Chicago. Really?
Yeah.
Really, Dennis?
Yeah.
But he's a 5-time NBA champ. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And it was cool to see that. I love that part when they were running after him, though. That was classic.
Yeah.
I mean, guys with giant ENG cameras on their shoulder sprinting down the hallway trying to get Rodman. They get out, and then boom, he's gone. That truck was like out of there in like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. He probably hopped in before he closed the door. He was gone.
That was class. I got to find a way to get you out of here without 300 media members seeing you.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was awesome. And how about, him with Karl Malone, too?
Yeah. How about Malone coming on the bus?
I saw that and I was like,
yeah,
a lot of guys would never would never in their life think of doing something like that.
No way. You're right, Lou.
And I always knew Karl Malone was a great.
He was a great player.
He ended up winning championship with the Lakers. I believe that's he went with Phil Jackson
in a smaller role. Yeah. But he got a ring.
Yes, he did.
So,
and even though he didn't win against Jordan,
his teams were so good. Utah.
Yeah, I mean,
Stockton, I loved him.
Yeah.
Jeff Hornacek was a great defender.
Yep.
Malone, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Karl Malone, he's a great player. I believe he had 39 points at one point in one of those series. I think it was I believe it might have been in 98.
Let me check my notes.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I thought that was really awesome from that Malone did something like that.
Yeah,
he didn't have to do that.
No, you're right.
He could have said, he could have been, obviously I'm sure that was probably the hardest thing he's ever done.
I would think one of them for sure, yeah.
But, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it just shows the sportsmanship and, how much he really respected Mike and that Bulls team, because they played against each other in back-to-back finals and took them to Game 6 twice.
Right.
So, I thought that was really cool. And, I've always known Karl Malone was a great player, but that just, again, seeing that, it really makes you realize, like, yeah, he was a great player and he was a great person as well doing something like that. So
right. So let's talk a little bit about the end.
Yeah.
I'm just flipping through my notes. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just flipping through my notes.
Yeah, no, I got
you. Jordan called it maddening.
Yes.
To leave the game.
Yep.
At the peak that he was at.
Yeah.
And, their team certainly 3 straight titles, and some would argue, they were getting older.
Yeah.
You know what? They were still winning.
Right.
So, I'm looking at the TV right now. We'd all have come back to go for 7.
Yeah.
Maddening to leave. And then the part with Jackson at the end, with Phil Jackson, how he got him write something down.
Yeah.
Basically write what they wanted to share with the team. They put it in a coffee can, I believe it was, right?
Yep.
They lit it on fire. They burned it.
Yeah.
Because they all knew.
Yep.
They all knew. I mean, they had said, he goes 82-0, we're still making a coaching change.
Yeah.
That was one part that still baffles me.
Yes.
That to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but that really, to me, I was left a little not a little, I was left a lot unclear on that. Did I miss something, or because why did they part ways?
Well, I just I think it came down to money for one, and they wanted to rebuild I don't know why you'd want to rebuild that team, but
it was the whole thing that Reinsdorf said.
Yeah, and I thought it was
market value. I wrote it down. He said it'd be suicidal, the market value. They weren't worth their value. They would have to pay these guys crazy money.
Oh yeah.
I think Jordan made $33 million his last year.
Yep.
Pippen, I think, was like $4.5 million.
Yeah,
that's all he
like
made.
Yeah.
So they would have had to pay these guys. They ended up trading him to Houston.
Yep.
You know, everybody left. They splintered. The team went. Jordan went into retirement again.
Yep.
Before he came back and announced in, I believe it was on 9/11, that right around that time when he announced he was going to come back and play again. So he disappeared for a couple of years from the game.
Yep.
What'd you think of all that at the end? What were your takeaways from all that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, with the Reinsdorf thing, I thought it was interesting that he had called Phil and said, "Hey, can you want to come back?"
Right.
You know, and Phil was like, "Well, I don't think it's a good idea because I don't think Jerry's going to like that,
and I don't want to coach a bad team."
Yeah. You know, obviously we know what, you know, he took a year off and, you know, went to the Lakers. We know
just won 5 more, no big deal.
Yeah, we know what he did with LA.
He's only got 11 as a coach.
Yeah. You know, I thought that was interesting. You know, and I believe, you know, Jed Bushler, Steve Kerr, a couple guys were, you know, they were talking about how, you know, Jordan wrote a poem.
Yeah. It was good.
You know, and they had said, you know, that was the first time that we had really seen, you know,
That's
he cared.
sad.
You know,
Yeah.
he appreciated playing with us and loved us. And, you know, I mean, that emotionally got to me, you know, just because it's like, I mean, that's the kind of bond you develop with teammates.
Yeah.
You know, you go through so much and so many, you know, trial and error periods and difficult times. And, you know, at the end of the day, you have each other's backs. And, you know, I thought it was cool the way that they had finished things, you know, write what you want to say, put it in a coffee can, light it on fire. That's it. We're done. Good luck and whatever else you decide doing. So, you know, I thought it was cool, and it definitely, you know, I was kind of in the same place as you. You know, I didn't want to see it end. I wanted to see it keep going. And, you know, overall, it was a really great documentary series.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well done.
It was. Yeah, it really was. You know, and it was really good. You know, I appreciated everything in it. It's just giving me a better appreciation for basketball now, I think, and even, you know, back then. And I, you know, partially wish I would have grown up then, being able to see that. But
you would have had a pair of Air Jordans.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, even though I can still get a pair, but, you know,
he's got his own money now.
Retros do sell out pretty quickly. I know yesterday was a surprise drop with the I believe it was a gray slate. I can't remember, the blue slate, something like that. Or a pair of 13s that Drake actually wore when he warmed up with Kentucky back in the NCAA tournament.
Well, there was a pair of Jordans, his originals, that sold for $500,000. Did you see that over the weekend?
Yep, saw that.
Crazy.
I think that's the most a pair of shoes has ever gone for.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw that, but yeah, I mean, you know, I think for me, it's made me realize, you know, even though everyone's still going to compare eras, there's not really much of a reason to.
To me, there's not.
You know, everything's, you know, things with sports have advanced so much since then. It's really hard to compare eras. It really is, because guys are different. You know, I mean, as much as I love Steph and Clay and all those guys, I don't know if they really would be able to play in the 90s. I don't know if they would have been able to, you know, if you would have taken rookie Steph Curry and put him in the 90s, he probably would have been there for maybe 2 years and he probably would have been done. Because if you take his build then coming out of college and then all the ankle problems, I don't know if he would have made it.
Right.
Where modern medicine and the way that he's built himself since he got into the league, he's able to make it now. And I mean, he's changed the game. So, you know, same thing with Klay Thompson. I think Klay probably would have been able to – he probably would have been able to make it. I don't know if he would have been as good of a player as he would have been. I think he would have had to get in a little bit bigger defensively. But, you know, it's – you know, and then you got guys like Kyrie Irving, you know. I mean, he's not a huge guy. I mean, you know, what kind of player would he have been if he would have been in the 90s? Kemba Walker. I think LeBron could have played in the 90s. I don't know how good he would have been. But again, I think just comparing eras is just not, you don't need to do it. Just appreciate each era for what it was.
Yeah.
And appreciate, you know, the athletes you have now, you know, cause it's only a matter of time before some of them start retiring and walking away and doing other things. Yeah. So, but that's kind of my overall take on, you know, the whole comparison debate. So,
all right. Well, it's been fun talking about him here for the last 5 weeks. We've done 5 of these. Yeah. After every Sunday we've done one. So what are you going to do on Sunday nights now?
I don't
Until
know.
you can get out and do what you really want to do, and that's stuff you can't do right now, unfortunately.
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely gonna be weird having Sunday nights if nothing to really look forward to. But
will you watch the Lance Armstrong stuff or not?
Probably not.
I don't think I'll watch that one, but I will tell you that the one with Sosa McGuire, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
That was unreal. I mean, steroids or not, whatever. There were steroids. Of course there were in baseball.
Right. Yes.
At that time, especially in that time. But that was incredible, man. I just started in Lansing doing the weekends and reporting. And I mean, that was insane. I mean, just every single night. The Sosa hit one. Oh, McGuire just hit one. Sosa hit another one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome in watching that. And say what you want about baseball, but I thought it was fun. I've always said this about baseball, that I've never heard one owner or seen one owner complain about them using steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously changed now in the last few years. Yes. There are some rules instituted, but forever there were no rules instituted about it.
Yeah.
So that's where I would point the finger at if that was something I was debating. Would be the owners. So the players did what they did. They got away with it. But that was a fun time in baseball. I'll definitely want to watch those couple because that was incredible watching that whole thing back and forth every night, every day. The Cubs obviously played a lot of afternoon games, playing at Wrigley, those 2:00 starts. McGuire going to games. All right, Sammy hit 2. All right, what am I going to do? He'd go out and crack 2 out of the park. It was cool. It was good, and it brought baseball back at that time. So
definitely.
I'll tune in for those. The Lance ones, probably not. I probably won't watch them. I'll find something. I'll watch Seinfeld or something. You know me.
Yep. What about the Donald Sterling documentary that's coming out?
I'll watch that. I'll watch that. I'm glad the league obviously did what they did, and I'll definitely tune in for that. And got rid of him, and you can't have that in life. You can't have it in sports. It doesn't belong anywhere.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it does still exist.
Yep.
The race stuff, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll watch some of that.
Definitely will be an interesting watch. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see. The likes of Blake Griffin, Chris Paul.
Well, the Warriors played him that night when they did the boycott.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that game in Oakland?
I believe so.
Sure it was, yeah. And everybody laid their jerseys on the floor.
Yeah, so, that'll be an interesting watch. Obviously, it's something that, I saw in my lifetime, so I kind of, understand it a little bit better. And, those Clippers teams, they should have won a championship.
They probably should have.
Lob City had some pretty damn good teams.
Lob City.
So I think if I'm Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and I see the Clippers win a championship in the next couple of years, I'm probably gonna be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, well, they might.
Because I think they would have liked to have been the first ones to say,
sure,
we won a championship here and we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously don't know much about what's going to happen with the NBA season as of right now. I believe Bojan Bogdanović said that he's getting season-ending surgery on his right hand.
Saw that earlier.
Larry Nance Jr. said he's still unsure of the risks.
He's got some underlying health issues. I'm not sure exactly what they are.
Yeah,
but
me neither. But
I respect that.
Yeah, definitely.
If guys, to me, it's a choice. I mean, do you want to play? I don't know. I just.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, basketball wise, if you want to play, let them play. But if you don't, if you feel like it's too much of a risk, or if you have some other issue that could make it more of a risk for other people, not just yourself.
Right.
And just, sit out, I guess. If you really don't feel comfortable doing it, then don't.
Right.
But as far as I'm aware, a lot of these guys, at least Chris Paul has even said, he's the president of the Players Association. He said pretty much all of us want to play. We miss playing.
Of course. It's what they do.
So I hope to see those guys back hopefully soon. As for baseball, I think we talked about this last week.
We did.
Brad Snell, Tampa Bay pitcher, saying he's not going to play because of the pay cut. I think Bryce Harper came out and kind of agreed with him on that.
Kind of backed him up. Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Again, I have my own personal opinions on baseball. If anybody, if you're a lacrosse player or a baseball player, you know what I'm talking about. But it's I just, again, what happened to playing for the love of the game? You know, I mean, I understand that contracts work differently in the MLB. You don't get, you know, millions of dollars as soon as you get into the league, but you're still making half of what you would have made, and you're going to make it eventually.
Yeah.
You know, so I would just, me personally, I would just play. I would just say whatever. You know, if they want to cut my pay, go ahead. I mean, there's plenty of other people that aren't making any money right now, or are getting pay cuts.
Yeah.
And aren't making $1 million, you know, $7 million a year.
Right.
You know, so
you don't hear about that in hockey.
No. You don't.
Those guys want to play, but there's nothing new really there. I know they're supposed to.
Right.
The owners are supposed to be doing a virtual call this week and further discussing it. I mean, you know, I don't know how you social distance in any of these sports. You're just not going to do it. I mean, there's certain things that we're doing that I don't think we need to do.
Yes.
But there are certain things we need to do.
Yeah.
And to me, it's common sense. You know, washing your hands, cover your mouth, you know, don't touch people, don't go to work. Those are common sense things.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the things, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but I just want to say that, like, some of the things that we're doing, I don't think we really need to be doing.
Yep.
And I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
Yeah.
So I will say this, apparently, and I haven't watched yet or got the gist of it, but our governor here in Michigan, who's become very famous during all this around the country.
Yes.
Some will say for all the wrong reasons.
That's
but
true.
some of our restrictions in this state today, what is today, the 19th? May 19th have been released a little bit from what I saw. Again, I haven't looked into it all completely. I haven't seen anything online or on the news, but parts of the UP are back open. Parts of northern Michigan are open. Memorial Day is coming up.
Yep.
So this is going to be a big test, I think, for, you know, can we as a society, at least the society in this state, and I want to say in other states too, can we be smart and not have a bunch of cases where we got to go back and we got to flip the switches and turn everything off again?
Right.
Because that's the last thing I think any of us want to do. So
100%.
Hopefully we just stay smart and do what you need to do and don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
So as one of my former hockey teammates at Traverse City Central said, his mom used to tell us all the time, don't be dumb.
Yeah.
We didn't do a very good job of that back then. But I'm smarter and wiser now.
Yes, definitely.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, I think that's going to do it for me. If you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. That was fun, Luke, and as always, and
I
enjoyed it. And I'm really glad that you got to see this documentary, to see, you know, what all the hype's about. And
definitely,
the hype's real, man.
It
always was real with him.
Yeah,
that's my feeling. I was always a fan. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the Bulls because I was a Piston guy.
Yep. And
living in Michigan, born and raised, I couldn't root for the Bulls.
Yeah.
But I've always liked Michael Jordan. I mean, he's on my Mount Rushmore of athletes. Wayne Gretzky's on my hockey Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Baseball, I'd have to think about that. Football, I'd have to think about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 that come to mind, but
yep.
But those 2 guys, to me, is clear cut, easy and done for me. So,
yeah, definitely.
Anyways.
But yeah, it was. We hope everyone enjoyed The Last Dance as much as we did.
Yeah, we did.
It was a great docu-series, and I mean, I'm sure I'll probably be rewatching it too. I mean, I got
binging it.
Got ESPN Plus, so might as well, right?
Yeah.
But
that was the one. That's the one thing that I've religiously watched.
Yeah.
Throughout this, I mean, I haven't watched Ozark. My gal watched it like 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't get into it. I was doing other stuff. We're doing this kind of stuff, having fun, doing, you know, our thing, interviewing guests, having hockey people on, all that stuff, just keeping fresh and, you know, keeping active and trying to keep some sense of, you know, normalcy, you know, the best that we can, you know.
Definitely.
And so, but that one I watched every night, the last 5 Sundays, man.
Yeah, it's been great. So I think that's going to do it for us today.
All right.
Once again, we want to say thank you to all of our frontline workers and our healthcare workers. We appreciate everything you're doing. And for everyone that's listening, watching, hoping that you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the No Holding Back podcast. We appreciate you listening. That's going to do it for me, Luke Holden, Ben Holden. Have a good one.
See ya.